Okay, now. Been practicing all that. I know, I still fucked it up. Are you alright? You having a good evening? What an absolutely red hot day. Still shocking now, and I'm sat here dripping in sweat. Thought I'd do a live stream. She's gone out, met some old workmates, so I'm just hanging about, waiting to see if she needs a lift home. I'll just go through your comments tonight, actually. Do you know what? I almost don't want to talk about Wednesday. Steve, congratulations England under 21 to retaining the Euro Championships and to former Wednesday keeper Bleedin picking up a winner's medal. Yeah. What one other day did I watched? Cup final, Holland game. I thought he played ever so well in that, to be honest with you. I thought he should have been 2 or 3 goals up before half time. They're different to watching young England teams back in the day, aren't they? They're all very technical, aren't they, these days? They've all got use at the ball. Jez Gent Chicken, evening all, Midnight Sadsters. Yes, we are Midnight Sadsters, like I said. I was being a bit of an insomniac anyway. So I thought I'd just have a chat, see what's happening, see how you're all doing. As I said, almost don't want to talk about Wednesday. Tell you what I do want to show you, though. I bought a lottery ticket the other day, and I thought, this is it. I know it's totally stupid, I know. But I'd convinced myself. And I mean totally convinced myself. This is it. I'm already planning on emptying my locker at work. I'm looking at it, and just get a feeling. And I don't know why, because how long has lottery been going? 1996, 97, something like that, ain't it? Gospel truth. Since 1996, I've never won a tenner. Ever. I know people who's had 2 or 3 half-decent wins. I've never won £10. Oh, what is it, 20 year? 19 year? It's more, isn't it? 2006, 2016. Call it 29 year. I've never won £10 on lottery. James Cocking's in the chat. Anyone looking to the first of our 2 pre-season friendlies in less than 2 weeks away at Frickley? Are they confirmed? I've got to be honest, I've not been looking. I've been depressed at Frickley. They're an athletic, aren't they? Frickley Athletic. Anyway, let me get back to me bleeding lottery story, distracting me with football. I convinced myself I'm going to win. Missed draw, and then I got it out next day, and you can check it on your phone, can't you? And I put it numbers in, and I was convinced I was going to be able to pack in work and everything. And I put them in, not one digit. Not one single digit again. I am a rate John. I never went out. I honestly never went out. And it's a shame because I was already planning what I'd do with my winnings. And with my winnings, I'm to get one of these. How have I done it? Come on, bastard. Look at that. Look at that. That's if I want lottery, I won't go mad getting a Maserati and Ferraris and all that bollocks. That's what I'd be getting. That is what I'd be getting. Old Granada. Granada GL, or would it a console? Actually, that one's got a sunroof, hasn't it? Just Giant Chicken. I once won £25 on the lottery. Once. Exactly. Honestly, I don't have any luck. What a car that is. What a car that is. That is a thing of beauty, innit? I've always loved them. My granddad had one when I was a kid and obsessed with it ever since. In fact, I can remember going round to his house and he used to go into the garage because I love the smell of garage because of petrol and oil and all that. And they got a door from kitchen into the garage and I can remember going in and it had gone. It had been replaced by a mud brown Rover. Absolutely heartbroken. Oh, Brian Cassidy, evening, Jim. Keep your dreams alive. Well, one day, if you ever see one of them driving about, you'll know I've won. That's the problem, innit? I won't want anyone to know I'd won lottery. I won't be able to cope with all begging letters and that. I have had this discussion at work, though. If you want lottery, would you just pack in and never go back again? Or would you keep going for a bit to keep up the illusion that you weren't absolutely minted? Do you know what I mean? And then just pretend to retire? Or would you keep going to work and be a really crap employee and see how long you could get away with? A lot of comments coming in now. Looks like they're all waking up. But you've all been having a snoozing, son. Where are we? By Wednesday. Now, do you know what? It's the last thing I'd ever do. It genuinely is. No. There won't be enough money, would there, to put right what's gone wrong down there. Me winning 200 million on Euro Millions. It'd be a pissing ocean, wouldn't it? Pissing ocean. I was convinced you were going to put that Wednesday top from the other night into production until you showed the car. That brilliant away shirt, yes. I should send them off to, what's that company that does all knock-off kits? I should send off that to them and say, can you reproduce this historic Wednesday European kit that never got wore? Do you reckon they'd make it? What is it, DH Gate or something? James Cockings, Frickley on the 11th and Stocksbridge on the 18th against the Wednesday 11th, not confirmed by Wednesday. But my opposing club was about a month ago. Oh. At the State of Hillsborough Stadium, we might be playing at Stocksbridge for next season. I'd look like the Sweeney rolling up in that. Yeah, console and GL. No, what were the difference? Because when I was trying to find a picture of that, and I put Granada in it with them ones with sort of 80s lights that I didn't like. That's why I like that one with concave lights on the back. Have you got an 11? We have got an 11, Brian. We have got a first 11. We've got a goalkeeper, just one. We've got a left back, just one. 3 set of halves, 2 right backs, 3 midfielders, 5 with kids. We could put a team out next season. That's not the worry. It's a depth. That's a worry because young Charles gets injured in there. Just for example, goes to stop a shot, stubs a finger, all badly bruised. What are you doing then? Under 18 keeper in net. Another young kid. Oh, it happens to Max Lowe. Touch wood, nothing does. But what then? Don't worry, Palmer will have to play emergency left back. What happens if Valerie then got to get players in? See, my mum used to keep the same numbers on the lottery for years and years, and then one day she changed them on a whim, and 5 of her old numbers came up. You are kidding. Be absolutely wounded. Wounded. I'd stay working to piss people off. Yeah, that'd be the temptation, wouldn't it? That would be a temptation. And like I said, you wouldn't want people to know. They probably would know, because I'd probably go away with an air transplant. I'd walk in looking like Curtis Stigers. That might be a bit of a giveaway. Some sweatshop in China, Jim. Probably is DH Gate. I'm sure that's the name of the firm. Sheffield 1867. One even look over my shoulder on the way out of the gate. No. It'd be so tempting, wouldn't it? Just to... I would go back to empty my locker because I've got loads of books in there. Back in the day when 5 numbers was a good win as well. Honestly, a true story this. Years ago, I worked in a boozer, and the lottery then were once a week, weren't it? It was on a Saturday. And there was a couple who came in. And they had the same numbers every week. And then they brought in the Wednesday night draw, didn't they? And their numbers come up. And he'd not put it on. His argument being, 52 quid a year on this, and we've not won fuck all. I'm not going to spend 104 quid a year on it. I know. Young Good. As a Wednesday fan at the moment, I don't have the optimism to buy a lottery ticket. I expect the worst, and even then, it'd probably be even worse than that. Yeah. It is. It's thoroughly depressing. There's not a day because I've got to be honest. Today I haven't looked at Wednesday news. I usually am refresh. Has anybody bought a club? And today I've tried my absolute best to not go on Twitter, not go on Star, not go on forums or out like that. I just thought no, because it's been a nice day. I had a little video down in Shed this morning to sort of get it out of my system, and then I thought no. I'm not looking because you know that all that's going to happen is you're going to click on a story and it'll just be a confirmation of a rumour. Like players haven't been paid again or it turns out staff haven't been paid again. It's terrible. Brian Cassidy, first time your gaffer said out wrong, you tell him to piss off. That'd be the temptation. But wouldn't you love to be able to do that? I think that's everybody's dream, isn't it? Just being at work, gaffer comes at you with some absolute nonsense and you could just go, no. You know what I mean? We've set someone on who's got no intention of doing any work. Can you go and do their job for them? No. Oh, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? P. Wednesday won a few grand on a 4-way accumulator this season. Leeds, Birmingham, Donny and Barnet, £5 stake. Not as easy as this time round. Adrian Denton, Glasgow's been a good distraction. Do you know, I haven't seen a minute of it. Do you know what? I sometimes sit down at night and watch the sort of highlights at day, but my mind starts wandering. The one thing I could never get out of my head is I couldn't go there with them Thunderboxers. As I've got older, at one time I'd piss anywhere, I'd shit most places. Not now. Even at work, I'll go a long way to find a set of bogs that's not on the main route where there's not a lot of people there. I like to think of it almost as like an executive bog, you know. Taken on when it's gone off and out, even less wins on watching sketch cards. Yeah. Allwyn, is that a new company? I don't keep up with all that. Jez, Granada had an L, GL and gear, S-Pack plus diesel. I think it was a GL. It was an automatic, I think. Or did he have to get rid of it to get an automatic? I can't remember. All I know is going down that dual carriageway at low edges, I felt like I was in a Concorde when I went in back of that when I was a kid. I absolutely loved it. Brian Cassidy, what's he say? I'm getting worried about us now. Is Bulgaria near Sheffield now? Brian, you've completely lost me. You'll have to come back. Watch Weezy today from Glastonbury. Lead singer who in the 90s said he was a Wednesday fan. Probably don't even remember this now. What's the name of the lass who's been on? I did see some pictures being last with old Wednesday badge on. The old L, but in that daft shield. That was sort of late 90s, that way, and it was going to say 96, 97 or something. And it was, I don't know why they did that. Like the 70s, 80s L, but with that shield around it. A completely needless addition. Oh, you mentioned carrying on an Andy Sinton concept from your last live. I did. And you know what? I've completely forgot all about that. And I don't know where it is now. But I will make a note. Let me get my pen. Because I will. Because it is quite an interesting thing about old sick note Sinton. I've met myself a note because it's something to show you. So I'll make a note to myself to get that out. Did you ever hear that thing about Anthony Sinton that he once missed a game because Plummer were coming round? I mean, it's that. Oh, it's one of them proper ones, smells of pear drops. You don't really get them anymore, do you? Ooh. Sinton note. I will get that. I will sort that out for you. United have only got players from Bulgaria, mate. Suzik is about to bugger off to Germany, apparently. No recognised names so far. Why are you signing all your players from Bulgaria? Man, they're probably cheap, aren't they? You can probably get cheap players from old Eastern Bloc. Something we'll probably be having to do this season with our $7,000 a week wage limit. God, like I said, I did a video earlier. What? $7,000 a week on free transfers. Genuinely, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? You don't want to get 38-olds who's been pottering about in bottom at third division all the career. So you think, all right, if we're going to get frees on low budget, $7,000 a week, get kids, get some promising kids, and maybe they've got a turnover. But you're going to need some experience because we will be. I can't see any other way of saying it. We will be in a relegation dogfight this season. So you want experience, but you don't want experience of people who's never played at a decent level. Evening, Nigel. Oh, well, that's thing, Brian. You can afford to get development players. If we bring in development players in, they're probably going to be on bench this season. That's difference here. Yeah, it's completely depressing. What have you all been up to today? Because I've been doing note. It's been too hot. I've got a bit of washing online. I've potted about. I went to the shop, got some more milk because I think that one on turning fridge. I don't think door had been shut properly. Got a loaf, and then I've come back and I've just been in and out, and sometimes it feels like it's hotter outside than inside, and it's muggy. I'm going to go and see my dad today, this morning, but I rung him up and said, "Oh, what's crack? Where are you?" And he said, "Don't come up." He said, "It's too hot." He'd gone up to water the plants. We said, "Don't." He said, "It's far too hot up here now." Ivanov, the Bulgarian centre-back in the early 90s, like a cross between a field cannon and a yak. I don't remember him. Can all keep signings for one season as well, says Steve. That's right. Yeah, short one-year deals. So that's the thing, isn't it? You try and bring in some young talent, you think, we're under embargo, we can't spend big, we can only offer small wages, but let's try and spin it into a positive. Let's get some young kids, not going to cost us a lot, and try and flip them. But if you're only on a one-year deal, you can probably not going to flip them for a lot of money anyway at the end of time here, are you? Oh, hi, babe.
Hello.
Just doing a live stream.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. I'll leave you to it then.
All right. Have you had a good night?
Yeah, very good.
Excellent.
Just get fine. I'll leave you.
Got a bit of a wobble on, bub?
No, I'm fine.
No. P1 so emitting the byline with purpose and putting crosses in with a butter on for QPR. Thought it's Marwood Mark II. Did Sinton ever do that for us? Yeah. We let John Hawkes go, didn't we? Who would a fantastic player for Wednesday and no cost. What would he, 75 grand? I actually saw John Hawkes' first game for Wednesday. It was at Hillsborough. It was a reserve game. I want to say it was against Liverpool. And there was him and there was a lad in the net, Miola, was a USA, I think he was international keeper at the time. Unbelievable mullet. Looked like Billy Ray Cyrus in net. So what, 75 grand, and then obviously he got flogged at Derby, he went to, weren't it? But apparently, I've read John Hawkes' book. Apparently, when he left Wednesday, he was still on the same deal that he'd signed when he first came. Which for a £75,000 signing from... He signed him from league then, didn't he, in America? I've got a feeling he signed him from league rather than team. Peanuts. Absolute peanuts. So he goes, and then we bring Sinton in. What best part of £3 million was it? Big money. Never really delivered, did he? You know, there were some bright moments in there. And one of the ironies is, I think we Waddle on one side and Sinton on the other. And I love Chris Waddle, always will do, but that did leave us a bit open. We did start looking a little bit exposed with a game against Newcastle. I think we conceded 4 or 5 goals, really wide open. It was like a 4-2-4, wasn't it? Let me try and catch up with your comments because they're flying in now. Getting burned in the sun at a vintage steam rally in Dinnington. Oh, you're out in Dinnington, Dougster. One of my mates from work's out in Dinhall. Vintage steam rally. I do like a steam train. Me and our lass went away last year up North Yorkshire and went on. I think they use it for Harry Potter, don't they? There is something romantic about steam trains. You know, I'm getting worse as I get older. I'm turning into a gimp. You know, if you told me at 15 that, oh, you'll really enjoy steam train when you're older. But I really, plus them stations, you know, and old, even Porter's Sack Bar, them old wooden ones, everything about it, there's a look and a romance to them old stations and trains. I really do like them. Stevanovic. Yeah, well, Stevanovic, who his work permit was allowed to expire, weren't it? There was him and Kovacevic with £2.5 million each, or 3 for one and 2 for other. Can't remember exactly how that deal broke down. Now it's 25 years ago, isn't it more? But he only needed, I can't remember exactly, it was either 4 or 5 more appearances to get his work permit renewed. And we didn't get him on park. That is so naive. I mean, if Lad's sat on bench and he needs 4 or 5 appearances, send him up front for the last 30 seconds of the game. I mean, he went on to have a good career, Stevanovic. I mean, I think he did go pre-order, whatever, but he come back, he captained Norwich for a few years, and then he captained, I want to say Portsmouth. You'll have to check for me, I can't remember, but I want to say Portsmouth and Norwich. Had a fantastic career in England. We've paid £2.5 million for him, or £2 million for him, and allowed his work permit to expire because he's not played required number of games. And that's sort of the beginning, really. If you look back, of things starting to go off rails at Wednesday. There were a lot of little things that at the time you're like, no, whatever. Because we didn't take things as seriously then, I don't think. But little decisions. There were a lot of spending then on players where we sort of paid over odds trying to buy ready-made players. And then gradually, well, 25 years of absolute cobblers, really, but 1 or 2 little high points. Obviously, Darren Moore's Wembley win and Paul Sturrock, you know. Obviously, the Wickham game with the Megson Jones season, but they've been our highlights. You look at a club of ours. I said I wasn't going to talk about Wednesday. This is your fault, you knobs. I didn't want to talk about Wednesday. I want to just relax. But we've got to do it now. Our highlights over the last 25 years, for a club of our size that averages over 20,000 fans, and our highlights have been playoff wins from 3rd Division. That's been our highlights in the last 25 years. Now, I'm lucky I've seen us when we were good, seen us in Europe. There's been kids who was born and died without ever seeing Wednesday out at 3rd Division. Genuinely. It's a really depressing thought. Let me get back into comments. Stevanovic go to Southampton. Did he? You're going to have to go and check that, Paul, for me. Go and check, get on Wikipedia. In fact, I'll do it myself, shall I? Hang on. How do you spell his name? Dejan Stevan. Here we go. Let's find him. You might notice I'm using an old-fashioned mouse, even though I've got a laptop. I know it's because I'm such a dinosaur, right? I've got a laptop and I plug mouse into a laptop because I can't. You know them little touch pads? You know, if I'm typing, my wrist accidentally touches that pad and I'm typing, and then I realise I've somehow moved cursor up here and I'm writing in the middle of a sentence or half an hour ago. Dejan Stevanovic. Yugoslavia. Oh, he's 50 now. Red Star Belgrade, Sheffield Wednesday, Vitesse Arnhem he went to after Wednesday. Portsmouth, came back to Portsmouth, 112 games for them. Fulham, Norwich, and then Havant and Waterlooville in the Hampshire Southern League. What a bizarre. 23 caps for Montenegro. Yeah. 2 million quid. Yeah, we signed him for 2 million quid. And then he went on a free transfer after he failed to make enough first team appearances to qualify for the work permit. It's that sort of nonsense that we've done time and time and time again. Look at me doing my own research on him. The steam rally is in Anston, mate, not Dinno. Nicking our steam rally. Let's not get aggro about whose steam rally it is. Having it on Waterloo. Bizarre. Dougster, this conversation making me laugh. Our lass always tells me off for that. People ask where I live and I say, do you know? And she's always quick to correct and say no offence. Dear. What did I think to Peter Atherton? I don't think Peter Atherton was a bad player. Versatile, could play all of it back four. And he would have been I think he would have been a good squad player even 2 or 3 years before that. I think he would have been worth a spotting squad. But I think the huge problem that Peter Atherton had to overcome was that he initially came in as a right-sided fullback where Coventry come from. He's replacing probably, arguably, one of the top 3 right-backs that's ever played in this country, you know. Roland Nielsen, it annoys me actually. Roland Nielsen always gets overlooked. You see these programs on Sky and stuff, and it's the players that change the Premier League and the 11 best imports and this and that. And he don't get a mention, but he was one of the first overseas players to come in and really nail down a first team spot at a top flight club in the 90s, and but one of the best right backs in the world at that time. No question about that at all. So that annoys me that he never gets mentioned in the same breath as some other foreign players that have come in. Obviously, your goal scorers are going to Henry, Bergkamp, Ginola, the flair players, but as a defender, a better right back than Roland Nielsen? I tell you what, you'd struggle. Anyway, getting back to Atherton, I think that's why he's probably not remembered as well as he should have been, because he played a lot of games for Wednesday, Atherton, but he replaced Roland Nielsen, and that is such a hard role to fill, big boots to fill them. Let me try and get down these comments again. Signing Stevanovic was part of the deal to sign Kovacevic. Pleated Celine and both on VHS. And at the time, we took mickey out of stuff like that, didn't we? We'd heard about these players. Oh, this gaffer, he signed his players on strength. I've seen a videotape. But now, clubs are signing players who haven't even seen a videotape. They're signing players looking at a sheet of statistics. Shall I try that again? A sheet of statistics. I can do it, you see. Or a graph. They like them round graphs, don't they? They're the ones. We haven't even seen them play. And I saw one of them graphs last season. And I bet I ain't got it now. I'll bet I ain't got it. Shall I try and get it to prove my point? Let me try and get it. Come on, wanker. Yes, that's where it's in here somewhere. I will find it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't use stats as well, by the way, but you'd be a fool not to. In a game where the margins now are so tiny, it's become a bit like Formula One. You know, every millimetre of improvement that you can make makes a difference to everything. You'd be a fool not to use stats to help you. But honestly, I don't think I could ever sign a player up or be thinking about spending money, a club's money, especially Wednesday's money, on a player that I'd not seen play. I would have to go and see him. But use the stats. You'd send the scouts out or the analysts or whatever and say, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for the right back that's fast, powerful, whatever stats you'd after, and say, go and find me a list of them. And they go and look at the stats and say, I found 6. I'd still have to then say, right, where are they playing? Get me a plane ticket and go and, go and watch them myself. I could not sign a player without watching them play live, just to get an idea. Because what a stat can't tell you is somebody's body language when they go a goal down. What a stat can't tell you is somebody's what do you want to call it? Sort of connectivity to teammates, their attitude towards the teammates. Are they always finger pointing when things go wrong? And they sort of. I look at Jude Bellingham, wonderful player. But in the last few games I've seen him play for England, he's lost ball. And where 6 months ago, he'd have lost ball and chased back and got after the man who robbed it off him and get a footing. I've seen him doing a lot of this. Yeah. Now, stats don't tell you that, but watching him, that tells you that. Am I going to be able to find what I'm after here? Aha! Got it. Let me save that. Try and get this up. Get rid of that. Right. Add. Image file. Download. I'm sure I've just bloody downloaded that. What did I do with it? Where have I saved it to? So, I keep saying, don't I, that I am going to. Let me save it to there. Right, let's try that. Get rid of that bastard. Sorry about this. Right. Image file. Why is it not there? Tell you what I'm going to do. Exciting stream this, isn't it? Right. I'm going to do a snip because sometimes I can't save pictures on here. Save it like that. Right. Screenshot. Get rid of that. Try this. Aha! Right. Are you still here or have you all got bored and walked off? Right, that's the wrong one. No. Get that one. No. What am I doing? Get rid of car. Aha! Right. Here we go. So, this is what somebody sent me. It was a stat reporting graph based on Ibrahim Sissoko that we got on loan from Plymouth last season. Now, arguably, one of our players at season last year with Jeddy Gassama, I think he did win player of the year with some supporters groups. Now he's on blue in here, and you can see in there these different stats for these non-penalty goals, blocks, tackles, progressive runs, successful dribbles, corners, pass completion rate, and everything. And if you look at those stats, and then you look at the red line on the graph, that's Sissoko, and he's outperforming Jeddy Gassama statistically in every area except aerial duels. So if you went purely on stats, you would say, great signing that. Ibrahim Sissoko, get him in. Gassama's one of our best players this season. And Sissoko's, on those metrics, outperforming him. So do you see what I mean now? And that is why it's so important. I would never get rid of going to a match and watching her play with my own eyes. And that shows why. Stats, great, brilliant. A useful tool, and you'd be a fool not to use useful tools to help you get an edge. But as I said, with me, I'd say, right, go and look at your stats, get me a list, and when you've got a list, I'm going to go and watch them, because that test, the eye test, tells a load of different stories. Tells you when someone's nesh, the eye test. Tells you when someone goes up for an header and then does turtle head. Stats don't tell you that. Right, let me get back into the comments here. You're two still arguing about Dinnington. Paul Fruger, agreeing the mouse, yes, old school, got to. Are we rewiring our brains here talking about players and not the current pantomime? Yes, certainly we are, and that's the best way to be. James Cocking, maybe settle down to live in Havant and play there like Pudil did with Hallam. Good point. Nielsen was awesome. Remembered him playing for Sweden and 24 hours turning out for us an important game. Yes, it was the cup final. Which these days, I mean, God, managers moaning, players play too many games, just get rid of cup replays and this. Rowan Nielsen, international game, cup final, less than 48 hours later. Proper player. Kovacevic's 12 million to Juventus. We were trying to avoid talking about that and depressing ourselves. Shite of statistics. Well, that's one way of saying it, Brian, is. Orlando Trustful, says Nigel. I'll tell you what, I liked Orlando Trustful. I thought he was a really nice footballer. I liked the way he moved the ball. He was one of them straight back players, head up, always looking. I thought he was criminally underused at that time, if I'm perfectly honest. We signed him and he didn't really get much of a kick, did he? I like Trustful, thought he was a nice player. Brian, all these bloody Bulgarians are found from the AI model. So if it works up Striper has the right numbers, it'd be brilliant. Here's another thing. Stats. This player is brilliant. He's won 95% of his aerial duels this season. Brilliant. Kid sounds like a beast in the air. What's his name? It's called Gulliver. He's been playing in Lilliput 3rd Division. Well, that's why he's winning all his fucking headers, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Stats tell you a bit, they don't tell you everything. Paul's having another can of John Smith's. Well, I'm sorry for keeping you up. Jess, that graph doesn't count for time spent on the pitch, I'd guess. Let me get it back up. Was it that one? Where is it? There. What's that say? Percentage versus attacking wingers in the last 365 days. So that's across all his appearances by the look of it. So, yeah. An acted funny chat shitting himself about signing players using AI from Bulgaria. Brilliant. Paul Faruga, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. Only manager with 100% record, Sam Allardyce. Played more and got the same. Yeah, perfect record as England manager, Big Sam. Did you see that AI mock-up when the Pope died? And there was like a meme going around at Allardyce in white garb with that coming in to do a short-term job. I do like some AI stuff like that, quite funny. England, whoever was the manager. How many cans did you say it had, Paul? I know, it's not the ale, it's the heat stroke. I do get quite a lot of United fans in the chat, which is interesting. My mate at work, he commented, he said, "You do get a lot of United fans on your videos, Jim." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you know why? Because you're obsessed with Wednesday." And I said, "Well, probably." And he said to me, he said, "Do you ever go on theirs?" What do you mean? He said, "Do you ever go on their fan videos?" I went, "No." "Ever go on their forums?" I went, No. And then I did get another stat, which I'm going to send. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get that up. Wait there a second, because I need my phone. Entertain yourselves, get another can. Great fish, looks. Thanks for the sympathy vote, mate. Wait there. If I can just send that to me soon. There. Oh, you're still there. 48 of you watching this at 1:15 in the morning. You must be as big a lunatics as me. Right, I'm going to try and get another one of these on. Get rid of that. It's a really interesting tweet here stream when all you can see is me doing this. Right, let me download this. You'll find this quite interesting. You will. Now, let me get it up. Image file. Downloads. Why am I not being able to do this today? I bet I've saved it to the wrong place. I know I've done. Jim, I never go on any Sheffield United sites on here or Facebook or anywhere else. I'll have to show you this. This will really, it does sort of make the point. Oh, God. I'll do that as a snip again. I don't know, I'm having a nightmare downloading stuff tonight. But as you will know, when you do YouTube videos, you get feedback, you get algorithms and whatever else they call them. So one of the things I get is the age group of the people who watch me, what countries you're watching from. It even tells me whether you watch me on a telly or a phone or a tablet or whatever. And one of the things that it shows me where the views come from if it's not directly from YouTube. So obviously I put my videos on YouTube and you can all watch them. But obviously I want to try and spread it, and get more people watching. So what I tend to do is I'll put a link for the video on my Facebook page, on my Twitter page, or I put one on Owls Talk and Wednesday forums. And I get the feedback about which of those external sites I'm getting most views from. So I did a video the other day. I think it was the one with Mandrick's head on the thumbnail. So I get the feedback and it says, most people who watch this video search your name in YouTube and this and that. And then the external sites, it's telling me how many views that I get from that. Now, as I said, I post the links on Owls Talk. I post them on my Twitter account. I post them on Facebook and some Facebook groups. And that last video I did with Mandrick, this is an amazing stat. Let me get this one here. It's not that one. Where is it? Get rid of that. Look at that. The video I did on Milan Mandrick, 93.6% of the views from external sites came from a site called S24SU. Now, I'm not that much of a betting man, but I've got a sneaky little feeling that might just be something to do with Sheffield United. Whether it's a forum or whatever it is. 93% of my non-YouTube views, so people who clicked on a link that weren't directly on YouTube, you'd think Owl's Talk would be top, wouldn't you? Or my Wednesday Twitter, you'd think that'd be up there, 90, 100% maybe. But no. 93% of all my external views have come from this. S24SU.com. You know. Just got to presume. I mean, I don't want to click on it in case it takes me somewhere audible. You know. But isn't that an amazing stat? I mean, like I said, my mates at work, he went, they're always here. They're always here. I never go there, but they always come here. And I said, do you think so? Because there'll be one or two Wednesday fans, I'm sure, that go and have a neb and go on their Facebook groups and whatever. And but it's something I've never done. But to be honest with you, I've got enough on thinking about Wednesday at the minute. It's quite depressing. Without going over there and seeing how well their academy is doing and stuff like that. So let's get back in comments. Where are we? I did see a video about how you were feeling, and at first it seemed a good laugh, but hearing you talking the way you do it was refreshing. Don't go on others. But cheers, Brian. And like I said, I'm going out against United fans. I work with United fans. Some of my best mates are United fans, to be perfectly honest with you. But it is interesting. Liam Moore, came across your channel for the Leeds post-game review. Checking quite often. Don't watch any Wednesday stuff other than yours. There's quite a few. Wednesday, I think we're quite lucky that we've got quite a few people covering it. There's the podcasts, obviously, which have now, I think, come across to YouTube as well. It's funny with a podcast format because the ones I've listened to, like the Wednesday Week and Wednesday Till I Die, I'd always listen to them in podcast form. And I've always liked radio anyway. I listen to Radio 4 and I like to listen to plays and stuff on there. And when it's just voices in your head, you put your own images to it. You know, you put your own scenes to it. It's like when I listened to all them, probably about 2 years ago, I listened to all the old Tony Hancock radio shows. And they're absolutely brilliant because it doesn't matter how big a budget you've got on TV or whatever. You can't beat the imagination of a human mind. And those radio shows, unbelievable. So like I said, I used to listen to Wednesday Till I Die and Wednesday Week on podcast form. And it's a bit weird now because I'll watch them on YouTube. And it's like, oh, you've got faces to voices. But in my head, I've still got the old faces that I'd imagined for people. So that's a bit weird. And of course, Jake, Punk Chef, who I've got to say has been absolutely brilliant with me since I started doing this. Because when I first started doing it, I'd got no idea what I was doing. Just recording, putting it out there, didn't really know much about editing and this and that. And you do think, especially at my age, why am I doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a bit shit and this. And he's been absolutely fantastic with me, encouraging me with stuff and helping me out with technical stuff. You know, I'll message him and say, what am I doing here? What, especially with microphones and stuff. What? Try doing this over. Turn it off and on again. Whatever. And he's been doing it a long time, and it would have been quite easy for him to get Monk on. I think, well, who's this fat old bloke who's, you know, started doing Wednesday videos? But yeah, it's been nothing but fantastic with me. Brilliant lad. Steve, yes, that's a Sheffield United site. I thought it must be with S2. It's got, you know, it got to be in it. The website's run by Colin, monitoring the situation, ready to. But as you all know, I like Warnock. Brian, I'm a moderator on the Blades Ramble. I mean, try and be open to all on there. Liam's regular visitor. Oh, Blades Ramble. That I think I've seen that in my sidebar. Obviously not clicked on it, but yeah, I think I've seen that. Last post on that site was 2023, which is weird. I also never going to United. It would never enter my mind to go on a United group. It's yeah, it won't with me. I'm trying to think if I've ever been on any teams message boards or Facebooks or anything like that. No, I'm not sure I have. Tell a lie. I did go on Newcastle. I went on a Newcastle message board when they were all that with Steve Bruce, and because he was saying, "Oh, I don't know about it. I've just been out walking dog," didn't he? And then I'd been on a Newcastle message board, and they were like, "Oh no, he's been seen at such and such a hotel chatting." When I think that's the only time, and that was to go and try and dig out a particular piece of information or a little bit of sort of rumour. But in general, I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's that much stuff goes on at Hillsborough. I haven't really got time. I haven't really got time to think about any other clubs. Appreciate Jim's views on the world, not just the football. He's so well spoken. Yes. You want to hear me at work when doors shut? No, not so well spoken then. Makes sense sometimes. Oh, God. Right, what have we done? Oh, we're coming up to an hour. Anyway, so I'll tell you what, I will wrap it up. I'll wrap it up because they take ages then to go on for people to watch back. So I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for the upcoming in comments, whether you're Wednesday or United. And especially thanks to those 96% of United fans who watched me Mandrick video. That's an unbelievable stat. It really is. Unbelievable stat. And there we go. So I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to have a nice cup of tea. I think it's still a bit too hot for bed. I'm going to have a cup of tea, sit on the bag, try and cool down a bit. Maybe watch bats, because you get quite a lot of bats around here. And then, do you reckon it'd work if I took a cold hot water bowl to bed? How am I travelling on? I wonder if a cold hot water bowl. I might get out of bash. Otherwise, a bit cold compress on head. Like when you were a kid. And why? You're badly when you were a kid. Why did you always end up on settee? Why don't you stay in bed? Be on settee, wet flannel on head, bottle of Lucozade. And your mum and dad just went to work. Kids now can't come in today. Little and ill. We just got left on his own. Like I said, bottle of Lucozade, flannel on head. Anyway, lads, I am going now. Have a good night. Take care, and I'll see you on the next live one. Yeah. Hopefully I can do another live one without any videos in between about Wednesday being even more in this shit. Anyway, night folks, have a good one. And this is about the third one I've done, I still don't know how to turn these off.